buckle up real quick here. A little more. So Scott, it's my view that the difference between good skiers and the best skiers is that ankle activity. Okay, good skiers, they're centered. Great skiers, they sing. They're stroking that ski. They're making their ski come alive. They've got range. It's not monotone. Their skis are singing. They've got a full expression and full range through that ankle. Okay, so I'm going to think of number 1 at the top of the turn, working through, stroking the ski, ending the turn at number 5.
If you were to leverage way forward on your skis, and as far as you can go, let's call that number 1. Go ahead and do that. Just leverage way, way forward, your whole body. As far as you can. Okay. And now, back out. Look at that. Your tails are coming off the snow. Now,
exactly.
And then if you were to leverage way back, let's call that a number 5. Okay, all the way back. And so we've got this idea of 1 way forward, 2, 3 right over your feet. Okay. And then, we'd call that a number 3. Okay, now I'd like you to take that concept, Scott, stand right over your feet at number 3, and now with your ankles, I'd like you to get shin contact with your boots as far as you can and call that a number 1. No, that's leverage with your upper body.
Yep, you're right.
So I'm going to call number 1 that. I'm going to call number 1 that. I'm going to call number 5 that. 1, 5. 1, 5. See that? And then we've got everything in between.
I'd like you to start the turn at number 1. I'd like you to end the turn at number 5.
You know, you touched exactly on something I've been working on.
Wow, I didn't even know this.
I was watching myself on video this morning and was like, Scott, what's one thing you would change? And there's a little bit more moving along the length of my ski.
Okay. So you're going to start the turn at 1, end at 5. And remember number 2, 3, 4, right? You're through over the course of your arc.
The difference between number 1 and 5 is maybe only about this much space.
Yeah.
Maybe the length of my foot at most, or a little less.
It's fore aft, all within your boot.
All
Absolutely.
within the boot, all within the
boot, all within that ankle.
Well, it always comes back to the ski on the snow. If I move to number 1 up here at the beginning of the turn, tightens the radius in the beginning of the turn. If I move to number 5, by the end, 5 here, 1 here, it tightens the turn radius at the end of the turn and actually allows me to continue to ski the skis out away from me at the end. And then right here, I want to be dead center at number 3 because that's where the peak forces of the turn are happening.
Yeah.
And being a little bit back or a little bit forward is going to be hugely consequential.
Yeah. I love that moment where you end the turn at 5 and you get back to number 1. I just think that is the most dynamic moment in the turn. It is just so cool. Okay, so let's ski that. I want to follow you skiing that. I really like you to think about that moment from when you're at 5 and you get back to number 1.
How quick are you saying this happens?
Well, depends on your turn, doesn't it?
It does.
You're certainly not parking and riding and you're not hanging out in that transition. Depends on who you are. People talk about my transition and how fast it is. For me, it's pretty darn quick. That 5 getting back to number 1.
And I'm trying to get quicker.
And you're trying to get quicker, aren't you?
Trying to get quicker.
Okay, now Scott.
I didn't do this right there.
Okay, go right here, do 1 through 5 for me. Show me 1. Okay, now show me 5. Okay, show me 1 and 5. Now, does that have anything to do with your hips?
No.
Thank
No,
you.
it doesn't.
And when you started right here, you just got way flexing in your hips.
Let's not do that.
And let's not do that. This is an ankle thing, right? That's the movement. Okay, have that active inside leg. There's going to be a lot of flexing there. Okay, enough said. Let's do it. Talk to me.
I like those turns. I like those turns, and the reason for it is I felt like I captured a little bit more rebound from the ski. Able to project some of that energy, that stored energy from the ski towards the new turn. It felt less park and ridey, if you will.
Let's stop here.
Less like I was just standing and traversing, and that's something I see a lot of instructors do. At the end of the turn, they're way too, that's not as judgmental, but they're a bit forward, or they might be centered, or they're staying in one position.
Yeah, right.
So there isn't a whole lot of activity often enough at the end of the turn.
Yeah.
And perhaps even maybe this apprehension of feeling like I'm in the back seat.
Yeah.
I'm in the back seat.
And people, there's a lot of people out there that say never lose contact with the cuff of your boot, ever, ever, ever. Well, one, what leg are we talking about, inside or outside leg? You know, because the two legs are doing different things. I mean, I always want that cuff pressure with my inside foot, with the dorsiflexion. Always want that cuff pressure. But you're going from one turn to the next turn, so the inside foot is constantly changing.
Okay, so I'm going to think of number 1 at the top of the turn, working through, stroking the ski, ending the turn at number 5. And I'll be making a shorter radius turn, maybe with a little bit of displacement, and then doing a little bit of carve, a little of both. Sound good?
What is, one question for you though, what does stroking the ski mean?
Well,
Stroking the ski.
so the ski, we're wider at the tip, narrower under waist, and wide at the tail. I want to engage that ski tip with cuff pressure, and then through the turn, I'm feeling the power of the ski where it's narrowest, right at that belly, and the end of the turn, boom, stroking that ski through that number 5. That's a stroke. Interesting thing is experiencing that fore aft while just tipping and carving, also experiencing that fore aft and that stroke while steering. So right here, I'm going to make short radius rotary turns 1 through 5 with my ankle flexion, with my rotary, blending all of those movements. Here's what it's going to look like.
That looked like fun. It looked like you were having a lot of fun.
I mean, come on. Who is just parked at the front of the boot all the time? They're not having that kind of fun. No! Let's see it, Scott.
Make those skis sing, Scott.
Make them sing. Ooh.
Give me
love it.
some range. You looked a little poppy. Make more of an exchange inside to outside leg with that range of motion, but not up and down, okay? Exchanging inside to outside leg. Yeah, let's think quick.
if I were just parked at the front of my boot the whole time, I wouldn't be able to steer foot to foot, stroke that ski, generate energy, and keep going when not only is it flat, it's almost uphill. That's the challenge. That's the challenge.
Do you think that 1 through 5 through the ankle year is worthy of incorporating to a degree in your skiing?
100%.
Yeah.
Maybe 110%.
Okay. Scott, thanks.
Thank you,
Now
Deb.
you're going to go coach the kids.
Yeah, that's why I stopped right here. We're going to pick up the kids. and
That's your
go up
job
the
today.
lift. That's my job
let's
today.
see what the...
Taos Winter Sports Team.
There we go.
And-
Taos Winter Sports Team. I love it.